Jack Russell rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the ancient computer terminal. The abandoned lunar base was cold and quiet, with only the soft hum of his portable power unit breaking the silence. The year was 2183, and humanity had been part of the larger galactic community for just over 70 years. In that time, they had been treated like children by the older alien civilizations. Jack hadn't expected to find anything important when his team was assigned to catalog old Earth equipment on the moon. Most pre-contact technology was considered primitive and useless. But this hidden room, sealed behind a false wall, wasn't on any official maps. "Commander Russell, you need to see this," called Sam, his young assistant, from across the dusty chamber. "I found more files that were hidden, behind encryption." Jack walked over, his boots leaving prints in the lunar dust that had somehow gotten inside despite the airlocks. The screen Sam pointed to showed a series of documents labeled Operation Sleeping Giant. "I've never heard of this operation," Jack said, scanning through the files. His eyes widened as he read. This can't be right. The documents described technologies far beyond what humanity had publicly admitted to possessing, even now. And the dates were impossible. These designs predated first contact by decades. "Sir, these look like schematics for ships. Really big ships," Sam said. Jack nodded slowly. "And weapon systems we're not supposed to have. According to the galactic hegemony, we're still centuries away from developing this kind of technology on our own." He downloaded everything to his secure pad. "We need to report this directly to Earth Command. No one else." Meanwhile, on Mars, Dr. Samantha Oakes brushed red dust from her knees as she stood up from the excavation site. The massive canyon of Valles Marineris stretched before her, but her attention was on the strange energy readings coming from deep below. "Dr. Oakes, the new scans are ready," said her research partner, Ben Kelly. Samantha took the tablet and frowned at the results. "That's impossible. These readings suggest there's a massive power source active 2 miles beneath us, but nothing's been built here." Ben looked nervous. "Or nothing we know about. The reading matches no known alien technology in the hegemony database." Samantha's communicator beeped with an urgent message. She was being summoned to Neptune's moon Triton immediately, by direct order of Admiral Lisa Blackwood herself. No explanation was given. On Earth, in the gleaming towers of New Geneva, High Lord Zix Terran of the galactic hegemony paced in the embassy, his forearms clasped behind his back, all 3 of his eyes narrowed in concern. "The humans are hiding something," he said to his aide. "Their ships have been moving between the outer planets with increasing frequency, and now our sensors detect unusual energy spikes throughout their system." "They are a young species," his aide replied. "Perhaps they are just conducting scientific experiments." "No," Zix Terran said firmly. "I've studied their history. Humans are dangerous when cornered, but they're even more dangerous when they have a secret. We must inform the Council." 3 days later, Commander Jack Russell found himself on a military transport heading to Triton, Neptune's largest moon. He was surprised to see Dr. Samantha Oakes aboard as well. "You've been finding things, too, haven't you?" he asked after introducing himself. She nodded cautiously. "Energy signatures that shouldn't exist? Technology that doesn't match known patterns. You? Files. Old ones. Suggesting we've been hiding things even from ourselves." Their conversation was cut short as the ship began its approach to Triton. The frozen moon looked ordinary from orbit, covered in nitrogen ice and methane compounds. But as they descended toward what should have been an empty region, a massive hangar door began to open on the surface. "Welcome to Deep Winter Base," said Admiral Lisa Blackwood, greeting them as they disembarked. She was a tall, stern woman with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. "You're here because you both found pieces of a puzzle that's been kept secret for over 200 years. She led them through corridors carved directly into the moon's icy surface, reinforced with materials Jack didn't recognize. They finally emerged onto a vast observation platform overlooking an enormous underground cavern. Jack and Samantha gasped in unison. Below them, stretching for miles, was a massive shipyard, and dominating the center was a warship unlike anything humanity had publicly built. sleek, dark, and at least 3 times larger than the biggest known hegemony vessel. "This is the UES Vigilant," Admiral Blackwood said. "The first of our hidden fleet. It was completed in 2079, 7 years before we officially made first contact with alien life." "That's impossible," Samantha whispered. "We were barely reaching Mars back then, according to every history book." "History books lie," Blackwood said simply, "especially when the truth is too dangerous." She led them to a conference room where other military officials and scientists waited. A holographic display showed the solar system, with dozens of points highlighted throughout. "In the late 2030s, Blackwood explained, a small research team discovered the remains of an ancient alien outpost buried on Mars. They reverse-engineered technology far beyond our capabilities and kept it secret, not just from the world, but eventually from most of our own government." "Why?" Jack asked. "Because they learned that the galaxy was already populated, and that older species often eliminate potential competitors. They predicted that we would eventually be contacted, and they wanted an insurance policy." Blackwood's expression was grim. "So they created one. They built ships and hid them throughout the solar system. When first contact finally came, we pretended to be less advanced than we were." "And the galactic hegemony never suspected?" Samantha asked. "They saw what they expected to see, a young, somewhat primitive species still learning to crawl." Blackwood smiled without humor. "Meanwhile, we've been quietly maintaining and improving our hidden fleet for decades." An alarm suddenly blared throughout the base. A young officer rushed in. "Admiral, we have a problem. Hegemony ships just entered the solar system, a lot of them. They're saying it's a routine diplomatic mission, but their course suggests they're heading to sweep the outer planets." "They suspect something," Jack said. Blackwood nodded. "It was inevitable. That's why we're accelerating the timeline." She turned to face them both squarely. "Commander Russell, Dr. Oakes, your discoveries have pushed up our schedule. Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. Humanity is about to reveal its true strength to the galaxy." Samantha looked at the massive ship visible through the window. "The hegemony won't like this. They've spent decades treating us like backward children." "No," Jack agreed, a slow smile spreading across his face. "They won't like it at all." Blackwood's communicator chimed. She listened for a moment, then looked up with determination in her eyes. "It's time," she said. "The President has given the order. We're activating the first ships. The hegemony wanted to check on their quiet, obedient human neighbors." Her smile was cold. "Instead, they're about to discover what we really are." Outside, massive generators hummed to life. The great ship began to glow with power as systems that had waited patiently for decades finally awakened. Throughout the solar system, similar scenes played out as humanity's secret finally emerged from shadow. The galaxy was about to tremble. The massive hangar doors on Triton slowly opened wider, revealing more of the hidden shipyard. Jack and Samantha stood with Admiral Blackwood on the observation deck, watching as the UES Vigilant powered up fully for the first time in decades. The enormous ship was easily 3 times larger than any vessel humanity had publicly admitted to owning. Its dark hull absorbed the light around it, making it look like a moving shadow. "How many more are there?" Jack asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Hundreds," Admiral Blackwood replied, "hidden throughout the solar system. Some buried under the ice of Europa, others concealed in the clouds of Jupiter. A whole battle group tucked away in the asteroid belt. We've been building and improving them in secret for over a century." A man in an engineer's uniform joined them, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. "Admiral, the power systems are stable. All weapons are green across the board." "Jack, Samantha, this is Kevin Reeves, our chief engineer for the Triton base," Blackwood said. "He's been maintaining these ships for 15 years. Kevin nodded at them. "The Vigilant is ready. We're bringing the AI core online now." "AI core?" Samantha asked. "But the hegemony prohibits advanced AI development." "Exactly why we kept it." "Secret," Kevin said with a smile. "We've had fully sentient AI systems since the 2050s, long before first contact. The ships can practically run themselves." A soft, feminine voice suddenly filled the room, coming from speakers all around them. "Systems online. All functions nominal. Hello, Admiral Blackwood. It has been 7,293 days since our last conversation. Hello, Athena, Blackwood replied. We need you fully operational. The time has come. I understand, the AI responded. I have been monitoring galactic communications. The hegemony fleet approaching consists of 17 vessels, including 3 heavy cruisers. Their weapons are powered but not armed. Shall I prepare defensive countermeasures? Not yet, Blackwood said. We want to avoid starting a war if possible. Jack was amazed at how naturally the AI spoke. The public AIs he knew were simple, limited things that followed basic commands. This was something else entirely. Kevin led them deeper into the base, to a control center filled with screens and holographic displays. We're getting reports from all installations across the system, he said. Ships are waking up everywhere. One screen showed a massive vessel emerging from beneath the clouds of Saturn, its engines glowing blue against the planet's golden rings. Another displayed a hidden door opening in the side of a mountain on Mars, revealing a sleek warship inside. On a third, they watched as what had appeared to be a small asteroid split open to reveal a stealth cruiser, tucked inside the hollow shell. The hegemony ships have changed course, Athena reported. They are now moving directly toward Neptune. They must have detected our power signatures, Blackwood said. Inevitable, I suppose. Samantha had been quiet, studying the designs of the ships on the displays. These don't look like they're based on Earth technology, she said finally. Even advanced Earth technology. Blackwood nodded slowly. Very observant, Doctor. You're right. The original designs came from somewhere else. She gestured for them to follow her to a separate room, where a strange piece of metal sat on a pedestal. It was unlike any material Jack had ever seen, with swirling patterns that seemed to move when viewed from different angles. In 2037, a research team found this and other artifacts buried on Mars, Blackwood explained. They were left by a race we call the predecessors. They visited Earth thousands of years ago and apparently decided we had potential. They left us gifts, technology, knowledge, sealed away where we would only find it once we reached a certain level of development. The predecessors, Samantha breathed. My team found references to them in ancient texts, but we thought they were myths. Very real, Blackwood said. And apparently they had enemies, the same races that now dominate the galactic hegemony. The base shook slightly, and alarms began to sound. The hegemony ships have entered Neptune orbit, Athena announced. They are scanning the moon extensively. 3 smaller vessels are descending toward our location. Right on schedule, Blackwood said grimly. She pressed a button on her wrist device. This is Admiral Blackwood. Phase 1 of Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. All ships, prepare to reveal. Across the solar system, hidden vessels began to emerge from their concealment. On board the hegemony flagship, High Lord ZX Terran stared at the reports coming in with disbelief. His communications officer, a tall insectoid being, chittered nervously. My lord, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. The humans, they have ships, many ships, large ones. Impossible, Zextaran said. Their technology is centuries behind ours. The readings are clear, the officer insisted, and there's more. The design signatures, they appear related to predecessor technology. ZX Terran felt his 3 hearts skip a beat. The forbidden ones? That's impossible. We erased all traces of them from the galaxy eons ago. The main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. President Daniel Carter of Earth appeared, his face calm but serious. High Lord ZX Terran, he said. I believe it's time for humanity and the hegemony to have a frank discussion about our place in the galaxy. What is the meaning of this deception? Zixtaran demanded. You have violated numerous treaties by concealing military assets. Treaties that were signed under false pretenses, Carter replied evenly. We know the hegemony has been suppressing technological advancement of younger species for millennia. We know about the predecessors and what your ancestors did to them. As I They spoke. Jack, Samantha, Kevin, and Admiral Blackwood boarded the UES Vigilant. The ship's interior was vast, with corridors that stretched for hundreds of meters. Everything was pristine despite having been sealed away for decades. "Commander Russell," Blackwood said, "I'm giving you temporary command of our fastest scout ship, the UES Defiant. It's docked beside the Vigilant. We need eyes out there, monitoring the hegemony's movements." Jack nodded, surprised but ready. "Yes, Admiral. Dr. Oakes, I need you to continue your research on the predecessor artifacts. There may be more we haven't activated yet." "And me?" Kevin asked. "You're staying with me on the Vigilant," Blackwood said. "If this turns ugly, we'll need your expertise with the weapon systems." On Earth, protests had broken out as news of the hidden fleet spread among the population. Many were angry about being kept in the dark for so long. Others were frightened about what this might mean for Earth's relationship with the hegemony. In orbit around Jupiter, a rogue faction of the hegemony, known as the Purifiers, had broken away from the main fleet. Their commander, a fierce reptilian named Drakmor, addressed his crew. "The humans have been hiding predecessor technology. This cannot stand. The Council moves too slowly. We will end this threat before it begins." 5 Purifier ships turned toward the Jupiter shipyards where human vessels were still emerging from hiding. Without warning, they opened fire. The first battle between humanity's ancient fleet and alien forces had begun. The galaxy watched and trembled. The battle near Jupiter unfolded with shocking speed. The 5 Purifier ships, led by Drakmor, fired their weapons at the human shipyards. They expected to destroy the human vessels before they could respond. They were wrong. The human ships, though just awakening from decades of sleep, reacted with surprising quickness. Energy shields flared to life, absorbing the first wave of attacks without damage. Then the human ships returned fire. Beams of bright blue energy cut through space, striking the lead Purifier vessel. The alien ship's shields failed almost instantly, and the hull began to crack. Drakmor watched in horror as 2 more of his ships suffered similar fates. "Impossible," he hissed, his scaled skin paling. "Their weapons are more advanced than anything in the hegemony arsenal." "Sir, we must retreat," his second-in-command urged. Drakmor snarled but gave the order. The remaining Purifier ships turned and fled, jumping to faster-than-light travel as soon as they could. News of the battle spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Hegemony, representatives from 100 worlds watched the recordings with shock. High Lord Zix stood before them, his 3 eyes blinking nervously. "The humans have deceived us all. They possess technology that should be far beyond their reach. How did they acquire such weapons?" demanded a counselor from the Verini Republic. "They claim it was left for them by the predecessors," Zix replied. A hush fell over the chamber. The predecessors were rarely spoken of in official settings. Most younger species had never even heard of them. "If this is true," said an elder counselor, her tentacles waving slowly, "then we face a serious problem. The humans now possess ships that could challenge our combined fleets. We should destroy them before they grow stronger," said the War Minister of the Krath Empire, pounding his fist on the table. "Or perhaps," suggested a quieter voice, "we should reconsider our policy of technological suppression. If the humans have broken free of our control, others might follow." The council erupted into arguments, with half demanding immediate military action and half calling for diplomatic solutions. Meanwhile, in Earth orbit, Captain Jack Russell prepared his scout ship, the UES Defiant, for its first real mission. The sleek, dark vessel was smaller than the massive Vigilant, but faster than anything he had ever piloted. "The ship is fully operational, Captain," reported his newly assigned First Officer, Lieutenant Maria Clark. "The stealth systems are unlike anything I've ever seen." Jack nodded. "Our mission is to gather intelligence, not engage in combat. We need to understand what the hegemony is planning." As they prepared to depart, a message came in from Admiral Blackwood. "Captain Russell, your orders have changed. We've detected unusual activity at a hegemony research station in the Proxima Centauri system. Investigate, but do not engage unless attacked. Understood, Admiral, Jack replied. We'll leave immediately. The Defiant slipped away from Earth, its advanced engines allowing it to reach faster than light speed more quickly than standard ships. Within hours, they were approaching Proxima Centauri. On Mars, Dr. Samantha Oakes worked tirelessly in a newly established research center studying the predecessor artifacts. She had been joined by scientists from across Earth, all eager to understand the ancient technology. Look at this, she said to her colleague Ben Kelly, pointing to symbols on a metal cylinder. These markings are similar to those found in ancient ruins on Earth. The predecessors didn't just visit Mars, they were on Earth too, thousands of years ago. Ben examined the symbols carefully. You're right. This could rewrite our entire understanding of human history. Samantha's computer terminal beeped with an incoming message. It was from Admiral Blackwood. Dr. Oakes, we've found something. A hidden facility on Pluto's moon Charon. The energy readings are off the charts. We need your expertise immediately. Samantha prepared to leave for the outer solar system. Protests continued on Earth. In cities around the world, people demanded answers about the secret fleet. Some were angry about the deception, while others feared that revealing the ships would bring the wrath of the hegemony down on Earth. President Daniel Carter addressed the world from the Oval Office. He spoke calmly, but firmly. Citizens of Earth, for over a century, a secret has been kept from most of humanity. A secret meant to protect us all. When we discovered predecessor technology, we faced a choice: reveal it and risk becoming targets, or hide our true capabilities until we were ready. Our ancestors chose caution, and because of that choice, we now stand ready to defend ourselves against any threat. The speech did little to calm the protests. In New Geneva, angry crowds gathered outside the hegemony embassy, demanding that alien representatives leave Earth. On the Vigilant, Admiral Blackwood and engineer Kevin Reeves monitored communications from across the galaxy. The ship had taken position near Neptune, ready to defend against any attack from that direction. The Purifiers have retreated to their homeworld, Kevin reported. But we're detecting movement from other hegemony forces, at least 30 ships, heading toward our solar system. They're testing us, Blackwood said grimly, seeing how we respond to pressure. In the Proxima Centauri system, the Defiant approached the hegemony research station using its stealth technology to avoid detection. Jack and Maria watched through advanced sensors as alien ships came and went from the facility. That's strange, Maria said, pointing to the sensor readings. Those ships aren't just dropping off supplies, they're delivering technology. Technology that looks like it was taken from other worlds. Jack zoomed in on the images. He could see components being unloaded that clearly came from different species. Some he recognized as similar to Earth designs. They've been stealing technology from developing worlds, he realized, taking it for themselves and leaving those worlds dependent on the hegemony. A sudden alarm blared through the Defiant. Captain, we've been detected, Maria reported. 3 hegemony cruisers are powering weapons and moving to intercept. Get us out of here, Jack ordered. Back to Earth, maximum speed. The Defiant turned and accelerated away from the research station, its engines pushing to full power. The hegemony ships gave chase, firing energy weapons that mostly missed the fast-moving human vessel. As they fled, Jack sent a compressed data burst back to Earth, containing everything they had discovered about the hegemony's technology theft. The message reached Earth just as President Carter was preparing for an emergency meeting with his cabinet. The evidence confirmed what many had suspected. The hegemony had been systematically stunting the growth of younger civilizations, keeping them weak and dependent. Carter looked at his advisors, his expression grave. This changes everything. The hegemony isn't just concerned about our fleet. They're afraid we'll expose their centuries of manipulation. Across the solar system, humanity's ancient fleet continued to awaken, and throughout the galaxy, other suppressed civilizations began to hear whispers about what the humans had done. The trembling had only just begun. The UES Defiant raced back toward Earth, pushed to its limits as it fled from the pursuing hegemony cruisers. Captain Jack Russell knew they carried vital information that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. We've lost 2 of them, Lieutenant Maria Clark reported, watching the sensor displays. But the lead ship is still on our tail. Route more power to the engines, Jack ordered. We need to make it to the Mars defense perimeter. As they approached the red planet, 3 human vessels emerged from hiding. The sleek warships moved to intercept the Hegemony cruiser, which quickly broke off its pursuit and retreated. The Defiant continued to Earth, where Jack was immediately taken to meet with President Carter and his Security Council. Jack's data about the Hegemony's technology theft was displayed on large screens around the room. This confirms what we've suspected for decades, President Carter said, studying the images. The Hegemony has been stealing innovations from developing worlds, then suppressing those same worlds to keep them dependent. It's not just theft, Admiral Blackwood added, joining them via holographic link from the Vigilant. They've been manipulating younger species, guiding their development along paths that benefit the Hegemony. Jack pointed to specific items in the images. These components here were clearly taken from Earthships, and these match designs from at least 3 other developing worlds I recognize. President Carter's expression was grim. We need to share this information with the galaxy. Other species deserve to know they've been manipulated. The Hegemony won't let that happen easily, warned the Secretary of Defense. They're already mobilizing their fleets. Meanwhile, on Pluto's moon Charon, Dr. Samantha Oakes stared in awe at what lay before her. A massive doorway had been discovered, built into the small moon's surface, hidden for centuries. Inside was an enormous chamber filled with thousands of small unmanned vessels. What are they? She asked Engineer Kevin Reeves, who had joined her at the site. Drone ships, Kevin replied, examining the nearest one. Fully automated, each armed with weapons that could take down a cruiser. And there are thousands of them. Samantha studied the symbols etched into the walls of the chamber. According to these inscriptions, the predecessors left these here as a last resort. They knew something was coming, something they feared. Kevin looked troubled. Do you think they meant the Hegemony? Maybe, Samantha said. Or maybe something worse. Something the Hegemony also fears, which is why they've been suppressing technological development across the galaxy. Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm. The facility's sensors had detected multiple Hegemony ships approaching Pluto. They must have learned about this place, Kevin said. We need to activate the defense systems. Back on Earth, protests had given way to a strange calm as people prepared for what might come next. The revelation about the Hegemony's manipulation had shifted public opinion. Most now supported the government's decision to unveil the hidden fleet. President Carter prepared to address the United Galactic Assembly, a forum where all species could speak. The evidence of the Hegemony's technology theft would be presented there. In the Vigilance Engineering section, Kevin had returned from Sharon and was running diagnostic tests on the ship's AI systems. He frowned at the results on his screen. Admiral, I found something concerning, he told Blackwood. There's a potential flaw in the AI systems across the fleet. If they operate at full capacity for too long, they could become unstable. How unstable? Blackwood asked. In the worst case, they might not distinguish between friend and foe, Kevin explained. The systems were designed to be regularly reset, but they've been in standby mode for decades without proper maintenance. Can you fix it? Kevin nodded slowly. I think so, but I'll need time, and we'll have to do it ship by ship. In the Hegemony council chambers, the debate had grown heated. High Lord ZX Terran stood before his peers, many of whom now viewed him with suspicion. The humans have discovered the truth about our methods, he said. If they share this knowledge with other developing worlds, we could face widespread rebellion. Then we must silence them quickly, said the War Minister of the Krath Empire. No, countered a representative from the Varini Republic. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered our approach. The humans have shown that suppression is not a permanent solution. The Council was dividing into 2 factions, those who wanted to crush Earth immediately, and those who sought diplomatic solutions. Drac Moore, the Purifier commander who had attacked the Jupiter shipyards, addressed his followers on their homeworld. The Council hesitates while the human threat grows, he snarled. We cannot wait for their permission. We will gather our forces and strike Earth directly." His words were met with roars of approval. Across several worlds, Purifier sympathizers began preparing their ships for war. On Earth, Captain Jack Russell received new orders. He was to take the Defiant on a diplomatic mission to several developing worlds, sharing the evidence of hegemony manipulation. His first stop would be the Centauri colonies, where humans had settled alongside another young species called the Archon. Before he left, Jack visited Dr. Samantha Oakes in her lab on Mars. She showed him what she had discovered on Charon. "The way predecessors weren't just helping us develop," she explained. "They were grooming us as guardians." "Guardians against what?" Jack asked. Samantha pointed to a star chart on her screen. "There's a region of space the predecessors marked as forbidden. They called it the Dark Zone. According to their records, something exists there that threatened even them. And they thought humans could stand against it? They saw something in us," Samantha said. "A balance of aggression and compassion, technology and wisdom. They believed we could succeed where they failed." As Jack prepared to leave, President Carter stood before the United Galactic Assembly. Representatives from hundreds of worlds watched as he presented the evidence of the hegemony's systematic technology theft. "For centuries," Carter said, "the galactic hegemony has portrayed itself as a benevolent guide for developing civilizations. The truth is far different. They have stolen innovations, suppressed advancement, and kept younger species dependent. Today, humanity offers an alternative path, one of cooperation and shared growth." The hegemony representatives protested loudly, but many other species listened with growing interest. The seeds of change were being planted. As Carter spoke, Admiral Blackwood received an urgent message from the Outer System Patrols. "Madam Admiral, we've detected a large fleet entering the solar system. They're not following standard hegemony protocols. It appears to be the Purifiers, and they're moving fast." Blackwood's expression hardened. "Alert all ships. Move to defensive positions. This is not a drill." Across the solar system, humanity's ancient fleet began to move, preparing for what might be the first full-scale battle with a hegemony force. The true test of their long-hidden power was about to begin. The Purifier fleet moved through the outer solar system like a swarm of angry insects. 50 warships, all armed with the best weapons the hegemony could produce, headed straight for Earth. Drakmor stood on the bridge of his flagship, his scaled skin gleaming under the harsh lights. "The humans have hidden their true strength for too long," he told his officers. "Today we will show the galaxy what happens to those who deceive the hegemony." Admiral Lisa Blackwood watched from the bridge of the Vigilant as sensor readings showed the approaching enemy. The human fleet seemed badly outnumbered. "All ships, battle formation Delta," she ordered. "Protect the Earth at all costs." Human vessels moved to intercept the Purifiers, but there were only 20 ships visible. The Purifiers pressed forward, confident in their superior numbers. "They think they have the advantage," Blackwood said to Kevin, who stood nearby monitoring the AI systems. "Let's show them how wrong they are." She pressed a button on her command chair. "Execute Protocol Avalanche." Across the solar system, hidden ships that had remained concealed even after the initial reveal now activated. From beneath the clouds of Jupiter, from hidden bases on moons and asteroids, from underwater facilities on Europa, hundreds of warships appeared. The true scale of humanity's fleet was finally revealed. On Earth, President Carter watched the sensor feeds with his military advisors. "Will it be enough?" he asked. "It has to be," his general replied. "This is everything we have." In space, Drakmor's confidence faltered as his sensors registered the massive influx of new ships. "Where are they coming from?" he demanded. "How many vessels do these humans have?" "The count is still rising," his officer replied nervously. "We now face at least 300 warships, many larger than our own." Drakmor hesitated only briefly. "It doesn't matter. We are committed. All ships, attack pattern Sigma. Target their largest vessels first." The space between Mars and Earth lit up with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles crossed the void as the two fleets engaged. The human ships moved with surprising coordination, their formations shifting and adapting with inhuman precision. Athena is coordinating the fleet, Kevin explained as he watched the battle displays on the Vigilant. The AI network is functioning perfectly. Keep monitoring those systems, Blackwood reminded him. We can't risk them becoming unstable. The Vigilant moved into the heart of the battle, its massive weapons tearing through purifier shields. Several enemy ships broke apart under the assault, but others pressed the attack, focusing their fire on the human flagship. Shields at 60%, reported a crew member. Maintain course, Blackwood ordered. We need to break their center formation. On the Defiant, Captain Jack Russell led a wing of smaller, faster ships on a flanking maneuver. They swept around the edge of the purifier fleet, attacking from behind. Target their engines, Jack ordered. Make them divide their attention. The tactic worked. Several purifier ships turned to deal with the new threat, weakening their main formation. The human fleet pressed the advantage and more enemy vessels began to fall. Meanwhile, on Charon, Dr. Samantha Oakes made a critical discovery in the predecessor facility. She had found a control center that could activate all the drone ships at once. This is Dr. Oakes to Admiral Blackwood, she called over the secure channel. I can deploy the Charon defense fleet, but there's something you should know. These ships were designed to fight something in the dark zone. They have programming we don't fully understand. Can you control them? Blackwood asked as the Vigilant shook from another hit. I think so, Samantha replied. The predecessors left command protocols keyed to human DNA. Do it, Blackwood ordered. We need every advantage. Samantha placed her hand on a glowing panel. The chamber hummed with energy as thousands of small drone ships began to power up. Moments later, they streamed out of the moon, heading toward the battle. In the Hegemony Council chamber, representatives watched the battle with growing concern. High Lord Zex Taran addressed the assembly. The purifiers acted without authorization, but they now fight in the name of the hegemony. We must decide whether to support them or call for their withdrawal. The council remained divided, but more voices now called for peace. The sight of humanity's full fleet was changing minds rapidly. Back in the solar system, the drone ships joined the battle. Small, fast, and nearly impossible to hit, they swarmed around the purifier vessels, disabling weapons and engines with precise strikes. Drakmor watched in horror as his fleet began to crumble. This cannot be happening, he growled. These are primitives. Sir, his second-in-command said quietly. We should retreat while we still can. Never, Drakmor snarled. We will fight to the last ship. On the Vigilant, Kevin noticed something concerning on his monitors. Admiral, the AI network is showing signs of strain. The combat algorithms are pushing the systems to their limits. Can you stabilize them? Blackwood asked. I'm trying, but we need to reduce the load, Kevin replied. Maybe if we took some ships offline. We can't do that in the middle of a battle, Blackwood said. Find another solution. Jack Russell's voice came over the comm system. Admiral, we've broken through their rear guard. We can target their command ship directly. Do it, Blackwood ordered. End this quickly. The Defiant led its wing straight toward Drakmor's flagship, evading defensive fire with incredible maneuvers. They fired a coordinated barrage that overwhelmed the purifier vessel's shields. The flagship's engines exploded, leaving it drifting and powerless. With their leader defeated, the remaining purifier ships began to retreat. Some managed to jump to faster-than-light travel, but many were too damaged. In less than an hour, the battle was over. The humans had won decisively. President Carter immediately opened communications with the Hegemony Council. The Purifier attack has been defeated, he announced. Humanity does not seek further conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. In the council chamber, the mood had shifted dramatically. High Lord Zex Taran spoke for many when he said, Perhaps it is time for a new approach. The humans have proven they cannot be suppressed or controlled. We should offer them a place at this table. 1 week later, representatives from Earth arrived at the Galactic Hegemony's central world. President Carter, Admiral Blackwood, Captain Russell, and Dr. Oakes stood before the council. Humanity offers a new beginning, Carter said. Not domination, but partnership. We will share the predecessor technology with all species, not hoard it. We will help lift those you have suppressed, not keep them down." Many counselors nodded, in agreement. The defeat of the Purifier fleet had changed the balance of power permanently. As the formal negotiations began, Jack and Samantha stood on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. "Do you think we'll ever need to worry about whatever is in the dark zone?" Jack asked. "Someday, perhaps," Samantha replied. "But when that day comes, we won't face it alone. The predecessors chose humans as guardians for a reason. They saw that our greatest strength isn't our weapons or ships. What is it then?" Samantha smiled. "Our ability to bring others together, to unite against common threats. That's why the galaxy trembled when we unveiled our fleet. Not just because of our power, but because they saw what we might achieve if we turned that power toward building something better." Around them, representatives from 100 worlds mingled and talked, many approaching the humans with newfound respect and curiosity. A new age was beginning for the galaxy, and somewhere in the vast darkness beyond known space, something ancient stirred as if sensing that the long-awaited guardians were finally ready.